something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Well, it sure is, and I'm glad to see you here as we kick off another great big day here on the program, fighting for you for the foxhole of freedom right here in the heart of America. Who do you want in your foxhole when it matters? Who do you want in your foxhole? All right, we're burning daylight. It's time to get to it here today. Here are three big things you need to kick off this hour. Number one, 14,000 would-be illegal aliens have decided to give in and turn around. That's in response to secure borders provided by the president and his team. Remarkable. 14,000 saying, yeah, we're not going to do it. Number two, President Trump announced a military strike on a narco-terrorist from Venezuela. The video is remarkable. All 11 incinerated on a boat in the blink of an eye. Trump wants an end to drug cartels. And number three, but for Democrats, crime is just fine. Crime's fine. In fact, they're campaigning on everything is just fine. Nothing to see in America's shooting galleries, better known as the big cities here. Don't worry about that. But that simply won't do for the man in the White House. It will not do. President Trump is officially promising to clean up the streets of Chicago after another violent weekend. He writes on Truth Social, quote, at least 54 people shot in Chicago over the weekend, 8 people killed. Now, I had higher numbers. I had 61 shot, 11 killed. Does it matter? The governor Pritzker needs help badly. He just doesn't know it. I will solve the crime problem fast, just like I did in Chicago. Chicago will be safe again and soon, wrote Trump. Trump says he's no longer waiting on permission, in fact. Here's what he said yesterday.
Lined up on Chicago, though?
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation. When we lose, when 20 people are killed over the last 2.5 weeks, and 75 are shot with bullets. So let me tell you a little story about a place called D.C., District of Columbia, right here where we are. It's now a safe zone. We have no crime. It's in such great shape. You can go and actually walk with your children, your wife, your husband. You can walk right down the middle of the street. You're not going to be shot, Peter. You're safe. If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country.
Now, one of those injured was a teenage girl who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, struck by a stray bullet. It's tragic. And it should be common sense that the Windy City needs some help. They've led the nation in homicides for more than a dozen years. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says it's just business as usual. He wants to focus on fighting President Trump instead of fighting crime on the streets of his state. Here he is.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
No. That's a lie again. It's a red herring. And that fat ass wouldn't get his ass on the train at midnight or 9 o'clock at night. The L is dangerous. His tub of guts wouldn't be on there. Talk about sucking all the hope out of the room. Oh, we have crime. It's the way it is. No, it's not the way it has to be. Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., now teaming up with Donald Trump because she sees that it's working. And if Chicago's leaders just listen to the residents in their own city, they'd realize that this is not what the people of Chicago want to hear. Here's a sample.
It's just gone from bad to worse to disaster.
No one really feels safe. It's impossible to feel safe in a city like this, especially with the leadership we have.
These kids are carrying guns like around the ages of 8 years old, and they're killing other 8-year-old kids with guns. It's insane.
My opinion, not enough police officers. The police officers' hands are tied.
So the police is really unappreciative for offhand under Brandon Johnson, Lori Lightfoot, J.B. Pritzker. Those are three are the reason why nobody want to be a police.
Their policies when it comes to crime is not working at all.
Yeah, not working at all. Law-abiding Chicago citizens deserve peace and safety. Law-breaking Chicagoans deserve to suffer the consequences, and Chicago's police department deserves a helping hand. The city's department has one of the lowest clearance rates for crime in the country, resolving fewer reported crimes than pretty much anybody else. But leave it to the deranged Democrats to make this a partisan issue. Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson is even going so far as to sign an executive order ordering city officials and law enforcement, don't work with the federal forces that want to make our city safe. Don't you dare do it. Here he is.
I'm signing an executive order today that will launch the Protecting Chicago initiative. This is a project that builds on the months of preparation that we have done that has led up to this very moment. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action. This sweeping executive order directs our Department of Law to pursue any and every legal mechanism to hold this administration accountable for violating the rights of Chicagoans. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement.
He signed this over the weekend. While his people, the residents of Chicago, were getting gunned down by the dozen and dying in the streets. He's asking an overworked police force that is nearly 1,500 members short of what it should be to refuse the help they desperately need. And that is insane, because it's a collaboration that we already know works. The National Guard deployed to D.C. 3 weeks ago. Since that time, through last night, there had been exactly 2 homicides in the nation's capital. 2 in 22 days. That's after D.C. was averaging double-digit homicides every month before the deployment. It appears that during that same time span, for comparison, Chicago had at least 32 murders, maybe more, dozens of shootings, including numerous mass shootings. That's just from what we know. Who knows how many more incidents go unreported? So by the math, Chicago streets are seeing people killed 16 times faster than D.C. 16 to 1 over the last, 22 days. Yet we've got Representative Jamie Raskin out here claiming that the deployment is nothing but performative. Performative. Listen to this fool.
So we're saying, one, there's no emergency. Second, even if there'd been an emergency, there's no power that the president has within the statute to take over the police department. This is a bunch of performative political actions that are designed for completely PR purposes.
Performative actions that Americans like. 2 homicides in 22 days in D.C. 32 homicides in the same time period in Chicago. 16 to 1. The number of murders in the nation's capital compared to Chicago. Chicago is killing people at a ridiculous rate. We'll continue after the break. It is The Steve Gruber Show. Time is All right, back at it now. Look, the crime in... I had somebody write me a note here. You don't need to talk about Chicago, why nobody cares about Chicago. I do. It's a great American city. It's a great American city, and I'm not just going to say, oh, you know, too bad Chicago's lost. No. I will not do that. Not to any great city in America. They deserve better. They are our fellow citizens that are held hostage by crime and violence every single day. And if you think I'm going to sit here and say, well, that's okay, we don't care about Chicago, I do. And every other major city in America, and every small town too, and everything in between. So if you don't like the fact that I'm covering the violence in Chicago and the fact that it needs to be stopped, and Baltimore, and Cleveland, and Los Angeles, well, then you're just out to lunch. This matters to all Americans. Crime in American cities matters to the country. New York City is a fabulous city. It needs to be cleaned up. Get the homeless off the streets. Look at the homeless encampments that are gone from the city of Washington, D.C. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro has slammed Jamie Raskin, by the way, who you heard before the break, for completely misunderstanding the law. Quite the embarrassment, considering he's supposed to be writing laws, she says. But the liberals can get even more embarrassing, like Chicago Alderman Byron Lopez, who calls the use of federal forces violence. That makes matters even worse. Really makes matters worse. Listen.
Well, we have a very direct response to the Trump regime, because this cannot be considered administration. This is a regime that is trying to solve critical and chronic problems, as I heard the governor, with more violence, with deployment of military forces that have proven, in the case of LA, to just escalate and make matter worse.
Yeah, just escalated so much in D.C., they've had 2 murders in 3 weeks. The update actually is a third person has died. I stand corrected. 3 people now in 25 days. 3 murders in 25 days. 3 people in close to a month. These people are not serious. 54 people shot on the streets of Chicago by conservative estimates, 8 of them dead. Other estimates say 61 shot, 11 of them dead. That's violence. How could law enforcement possibly make matters worse? These people are insane. Another Chicago alderman, Raymond Lopez, could maybe knock some sense into the rest of them. Here's his take after the weekend.
As we've seen multiple mass shootings here in the city of Chicago, over 50 victims of gun violence, several people dead. You know, we've made the best argument for Donald Trump to say that action is necessary right now, as we've seen.
Yeah. You know, it's bad, by the way, when even Joe Scarborough, that guy, over on MSLSD, thinks that Chicago's leaders are doing the wrong thing by ignoring Trump's offers to help. Watch the rest of the panel completely speechless over the fact that Joe is taking President Trump's side, rightfully, in fact. Here it is.
Well, my concern is you have leaders in Chicago that see this, as you say. We've been reading about this for years now, every weekend, and maybe crime has gone down. But, you know, we had the mayor of Chicago on last week saying, oh, we don't need any more police officers. Police officers aren't the answer. No police officers. You know, I think he said no 5 times. You look what's happening this weekend. You look so, you know, I actually think that J.B. Pritzker should do something radical. I think he should pick up the phone, call the president. Right now, just hey, nothing to see here, moving along. No problem here. Hey, Donald Trump, we don't need you. And, you know, the mayor talking about we're going to protect people's dignity in our city. Well, protect their lives. That's protecting their dignity. Well, my concern.
Yeah, keep them alive. That's a good place to start. What about the economic toll? Chicago's violence driving business away. Tourism down 15% this summer alone, per the local Chamber of Commerce. Restaurants, shops, affected areas closing, costing jobs and tax revenue, money that could better be spent for policing. Trump's plan could reverse all of this, but Pritzker's refusal to cooperate risks making the city's wounds deeper. A 2023 Chicago Tribune report pegs the cost of gun violence $2.5 billion annually as jobs leave. The South Side neighborhoods like Englewood have lost 44% of their black population since 2000. These families are like, we got to get the hell out of here. Downtown's not immune either. Tourism dropped 15 to 20% this summer. Again, Chamber of Commerce from the Chicagoland. It's a murder capital. Nobody wants to be there, and stricter gun laws aren't the answer. Illinois ranks third for strict gun control laws. Chicago enforces even more bans and requires more paperwork for gun ownership than the state does. The ATF has concentrated its efforts in the murder capital for years. It's led the nation in killing for 13 years in a row. Schools are seeing record absenteeism. Parents fear sending kids because of gunfire. It's not just a crime issue. It's an economic issue. It's an education issue. Long-term consequences. It just doesn't end, folks. Look, in order to make America great, you need to make Chicago great. You need to make D.C. great. You need to make New York great. You need to pick up the phone, Governor, and call the president. That's what you need to do. To make America great, American cities have to be great too. We cannot give up on them. Did you know that American homeowners nationwide have $32 trillion in equity, and cyber criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing? House alarms, doorbell cameras, deadbolts. It doesn't work against these folks. Look, they're there to steal your money, not your stuff. It's the equity in your home. If your title isn't being monitored in this day and age when everything's interconnected, scammers can transfer the title out of your name, and then they start taking loans against that money that you've put there paying your mortgage for years. And if you really get screwed, you could lose the house altogether when they sell it. Behind your back, you don't even know it until the letters show up in your mailbox. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from Home Title Lock. It's 24/7 monitoring, alerts of any changes, and God forbid if the worst happens, restoration services, no out of cost to you. You can check on your home's title today. Make sure you're not a victim. Use the promo code Gruber at HometitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. Have peace of mind. And you get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of the multi-million-dollar triple lock protection program. So go to HometitleLock.com. Use the promo code Gruber. They'll give you $1 million to fix the problem if it ever happens. HometitleLock.com. Promo code Gruber. Back after this. All right, let me run some math for you, all right? The math is important. This is why Muriel Bowser is now saying, you know what? I'm going to continue to work with Donald Trump to clean up D.C. It's not just the homeless. It's not just the homicides. It's also the beautification of D.C. Apparently, a lot of the fountains there don't work. I didn't realize this. Now a focus of Donald Trump. Let's get the fountains to work. We've got these fountains in different places like Logan Circle and different places. Let's make everything work that's here. Good idea. Now, 3 homicides, that's an update, since August the 11th. 3 homicides in D.C. since, that's 23 days, all right? If in 23 days you've had 3 homicides, then you could have 5 homicides for the month, right? You could be in that 5 to 6 homicide range for the month. D.C. hasn't had a month with less than double-digit homicides in a very long time. So basically, by putting police on the streets and the National Guard on the streets, because it is a federal city, you may have cut the homicide rate in half or more by doing that. Bam, cutting the homicide rate in half or more. Is that not remarkable? I mean, come on, people. That is remarkable. What's remarkable is how valuable cryptocurrency has become. The elites got wealthy. Where were you? Block Trust IRA is giving you the chance now to get in the game, bringing the crypto opportunity to real Americans like you. Crypto is fueling President Trump's America First economic miracle. The government now buying $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, by the way. The Animus AI trading platform runs 24/7, crushing old school strategies, helping patriots like you build serious wealth. Named the #1 crypto tech platform by Bitcoin Magazine, Block Trust IRA can offer up to $200 million in protection. Some clients have seen returns over 200%. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a truck driver, retiree, small business owner. This is your opportunity to find out more. You can also get $2,500 in bonus crypto when you sign up. Go learn more at SteveGruberCrypto.com. SteveGruberCrypto.com. Do I own crypto? You're darn right I do. About 4 or 5 different kinds. SteveGruberCrypto.com. Back after this. All right, so look, my next guest has been calling out the climate activists, the radicals, these fringe elements, these earth firsters, these bunny huggers and tree lovers for, heck, since before I started this program. He's been coming on here for like 13, 14 years. And I greatly appreciate it because he's been calling it right every step of the way, and I've agreed with him, and we've gone back and forth for years. Gregory Wright-Stone, geologist, executive director of the CO2 Coalition in Arlington, Virginia. He's back on the program. Gregory, nice to see you.
Yeah, good to be on with you, Steve. It's always something, isn't it?
They never quit. Like I say, rust never sleeps. That comes from my favorite liberal, Neil Young, who, a guy who screams about capitalism while selling his library for $500 million. That's what the disingenuous liberals, limousine liberals, that's what it's kind of about, Gregory. They eat caviar and filet mignon and tell us we should eat crickets and use an outhouse or something like that. Of course, an outhouse probably destroys the environment too. It takes me back. It made me think when I saw you were on here. Bill Clinton was the first guy to say, well, you can't use this much water when you flush your toilet. So now we flush the toilet 3 times instead of once, use more water than we did before, a completely ridiculous thing. And then it became everything in our lives that makes our lives better was targeted. Air conditioning, a furnace, the dishwasher, the most regulated appliance in the house. They're apparently going extinct from what I'm learning from you today. Greg, what can you tell the folks?
Well, your viewers, if they just look around them in the comfort of their home, just every appliance you look at, including your ceiling fan, is now regulated by the government.
My ceiling fan?
Yes, that was just done 6 months ago.
All right.
You're being limited to government-approved appliances, the dishwashers, the latest example of this. The modern iteration of the modern dishwasher takes between 2.5 and 4 hours per cycle. Think about that. And they limited it to 5 gallons per cycle, and it's supposed to get down to 3.2 gallons in 2027, which means you're even going to have a longer wash cycle. And that's because the government says these are efficient dishwashers. Well, let me tell you, Steve, the government has a much different definition of efficiency than my wife does. The government says you need to save electricity and hot water.
Yeah.
I tell you, Julia, she would love to be able to get a dishwasher that can be done in 30 minutes and get the dishes clean and ready to go.
You mean the way it used to be?
Exactly.
The way it used to be. So here's the thing. When I hear you saying that, it makes me think, there are workarounds, with a lot of different devices in this world. Like a shower head have these water restrictors in them. But if you're smart about it, you can pull that water restrictor out of the shower head and boom, you've got a shower again. It's a remarkable thing. Are there any workarounds for dishwashers that would stop the restriction at 5 gallons or 2.2 gallons or an ounce and a half or whatever they're going to?
Well, if you're the next iteration of Elon Musk, you might be able to figure something out. I have not been able to do that. And I did that I had my son-in-law come over and there were actually 3 shower restrictors within our new shower head because they had 2 heads. It was just dribbled out before, and now it comes out like Niagara Falls. Those are pretty easy to knock out.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great, but the workaround for the dishwasher. All right, so are we making progress with the Trump administration, knocking some of these things back? Because I know, the air conditioner, they keep changing the coolant in the air conditioners to the point that some of the new coolants are literally $150 a pound, and if you've got to put in 10 pounds to recharge your air conditioner, it becomes real serious money, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. In fact, we've got a report that's just being finalized, maybe today, on this. They're doing it because of the supposed warming potential, global warming potential of these new the air conditioning, the gases they use for that. We've already done one for the old ones, but we get people like, God bless him. What's the senator from Louisiana that's
John Kennedy?
Yes, I love him, except for he's backing things like this because Louisiana's just thick with the chemical industry, and the chemical industry loves these new gases because they get to replace everything. They're really expensive, and they're going to make a lot of money. So they're for it. Well, who's for the consumer? It doesn't sound like many are, but no, we've got very good things. Chris Wright, Department of Energy, and also Lee Zeldin at the EPA. Both of those are working hand in glove to roll back some of these restrictions. Your viewers' freedoms have been systematically encroached on. Like I mentioned before, you don't have the ability to buy the device you want to, the appliance, because it's all of the appliances, dishwashers and the like, are all just government approved devices that meet the government efficiency standards, not my wife's efficiency standards.
Right. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask AI at the same time here. How many islands have vanished in this on the planet in the last 25 years from climate change? I mean, they keep telling me that the sea levels are rising and countries are going to disappear, and there's going to be flood, and there's going to be these climate refugees.
Well, you threw me up a softball. 0 islands from climate change, and the most at-risk island, if we have a few minutes, are the Maldives in the Indian Ocean.
Right.
And bear in mind, 18,000 years ago, the Maldives were also just above sea level. And in the last 18,000 years, you ready? Sea level has risen 400 feet. Why are the Maldives not under 400 feet of water, you might ask?
That's a good question,
Steve. Yeah, it's a geologic process known as accretion. And so what happens, the corals that ring the islands can grow really quickly, keep up with sea level. But then this accretion is a process where the sands and gravels on the near shore during storms get washed up onto the island. Wind and critters spread them around, and the island slowly grows. And this has been going on. Many thousands of islands all around the earth have been growing just like this. Again, we've had 400 feet of sea level rise, and they're saying the Maldives are going to be underwater by 2050. At current sea level rates, that will be an additional 2 inches of sea level rise. Now, what they're telling you then is the last 400 feet of sea level rise didn't put them underwater. But look out, that next 2 inches, they're over and done with and going to be underwater. Well, that's just ridiculous. Does that meet the smell test?
Well, no, and here's what's funny. I'm using Super Grok here on X, right? I use it every day. I ask questions. It's reasonable. And usually it says it'll give you an answer in 30 seconds. It's been working this entire time to come up with an answer. It's claiming that at least one Solomon Island vanished in 2011. I see that in the back, but it hasn't popped out. I don't know. Couldn't have been an occupied island, obviously. It was some little, clip of sand that stuck out.
It's a little bit complicated subject because we have not just sea level rise. We have also what's happening tectonically with
erosion
the
as well.
Erosion, but primarily it's tectonic. Some areas are naturally rising up, like Alaska is huge. Right. Their sea level's dropping because the land's rising. Other places are subsiding. Along the East Coast with just as much subsidence as we do sea level rise, and that's it's called tectonic activity that it's really related to the retreat of the last glaciers. I
got to leave it here, Gregory. I need you to tell the folks where they can find you and find the truth when they need it. Go ahead.
CO2coalition.org or my new book. Just search for Convenient Warming. You won't regret it.
Convenient Warming. There's my buddy Gregory Wrightstone. 13 years, 14 years, been around a long time. Gregory, thank you as always.
Thank you.
There you have it. CO2coalition.org. You want the truth? Can you handle the truth? Yeah. It's still searching, by the way. No answer yet. All right. Let's continue now as we want to look into your good health, as we always do every day here on the program. Why? Because I want you back tomorrow. I have great friends at the wellness company, as you know, and I have their guests on here to talk about what's going on out there. Because every day it seems the people in the media are trying to scare us. Oh, there's this disease coming. Oh, you got to have your COVID shot. Oh, my gosh. I mean, did you see the guy that got tossed out of the CDC, whips and chains and fetishes, and the guy with that had his boyfriend on a leash and so forth, tossed out of the CDC? He's now out there pitching the COVID vaccine for 6-month-old children. Good Lord. Dr. James Thorpe, Chief of Maternal and Prenatal Health at the Wellness Company, joined me now. Dr. Thorpe, I'm sorry, I saw pictures of this guy on the internet. I'm like, whips and chains and tattoos and whatever, and he's got all of this strange fetish kink nonsense. And I'm like, I wouldn't trust my kid with that guy anywhere. And yet he's the guy who was in charge of COVID response for the CDC. Good Lord. Welcome to the program.
Well, Steve, you're right. It's absolutely, and I'm so glad that you brought this up. His name is Dimitri Maskalakis, and he's a disgrace to the human race. And actually, he's Greek descent, and the Greeks have come out and just said what I just said. He's a disgrace to every Greek, every born. And the reason why it's so important for you to put this out, and I wish you would show a picture of him in his what appears to be his homosexual, pedophilic, gay regalia, pornographic, appears to be a pedophile. And so he's an MD PhD, Steve. Now, the only way that you and I can confront evil and confront the propaganda of the last 30 years from the CDC is by showing this guy and exposing it. Not rise, people say rise above.
Look, I mean, the fact of the matter is this guy, in fact, he resigned his position. And then in all these interviews he did on CNN and MSNBC, wherever else he appeared, he said, I've been a champion of this group and that. He's an activist. He's not a serious person out there looking out for the health of children. And now he's shilling for Big Pharma. That's the bigger problem. And I don't care. Look, take away all the strangeness, all right? Take that out of the equation even, doctor. Just the fact that he went from the CDC to become a salesman for Big Pharma, that in itself is wrong. Just wrong.
That's true. But it's important for the public to know who's been pushing hepatitis B vaccines in babies on their first day of life when they come back out of the womb for sexually transmitted diseases, who this guy may appear could very well have hepatitis B himself and be maybe raping these young children. This is what the American people need to see.
Yeah, we don't need this kind of person in a position. I don't know if he's done any of those things, just to be clear. I'm not sure how far he's gone, but I can tell you that the images are not comforting to the average person looking at him. The Greeks have disowned him. The conservative of this country disowned him. I don't know what his extent is of what he's done or not done, but it is disturbing to say the least. All right, let's move on now to Washington, D.C. The other CDC director forced out, Dr. Susan Menares. Other medical bureaucrats followed suit. She was forced out after disagreeing with RFK Jr.'s changes regarding the COVID-19 vaccine. Is there any reason today that the COVID-19 vaccine should be given to anyone? Anyone?
It's not fit for human consumption, and it should have been taken off the market in December of 2020 after the massive number of deaths. 1,223 dead within just 10 weeks. So there is no reason. And we need to get ahead of the curve. I think that Bobby Kennedy's doing a great job, but he's being attacked voraciously, as are the ACIP committee. And the chairman of the ACIP committee is even coming under fire. Retsef Levi from MIT, one of the most brilliant investigative researchers in the world. So
Yeah.
we need to keep transparent. We need to continue to oppose this propaganda with transparency and data, exactly as Retzef Levi has advocated.
All right, so we need to keep ourselves safe. Secondly, do you think we're safer because of these resignations, because of this guy, this woman? Is America, because you got people saying, oh my God, people are going to die because of Robert F. Kennedy. I don't believe that. I believe that asking questions about vaccines is fine. There used to be 6 or 8 vaccines. Now there's a couple of hundred, right? I think it's probably worth asking, why are we doing this? You got about 30 seconds, real quick.
Yes, I think it's extremely important for Bobby and the new elements of the CDC put out, make it clear, lay out all the evidence of corruption and the real causes of the diseases over the last 30 years, which have been the vaccines.
Yeah. All right, so if you had the vaccine and you regret it now, like millions of people, or you had COVID and you didn't have the vaccine, but you're worried about the spike protein, the wellness company does have the gold standard for a spike protein formula that people can take and address this. We got about 20 seconds, doctor. Tell them about it. It is the gold standard.
It is the gold standard. It's very important for the American people to know that they should get the lab test. The lab test is a quantitative spike protein antibody, which correlates with the amount of this bioweapon, the spike protein in their body. And yes, the ultimate spike detox is the only remedy that is proven by scientific research to clear that.
Ultimate Spike Detox. Where do you get it? You get it from the wellness company, twc.health/Gruber. twc.health/Gruber. If you want to make sure you're on the straight and narrow, that's what you want. twc.health/Gruber. Doctor, I have to run. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, so during a get-together in the Oval Office yesterday, Donald Trump took a few questions, and he also made a few comments. One of those was about a drug-running boat from Venezuela manned by Tren de Aragua. 11 members of Tren de Aragua, a narco boat, a cartel boat running drugs. And here's it is. You see it on your screen. Things did not work out so well for these folks. The president says, we just took out a boat full of illegal drugs and terrorists. Well, when he says take it out, he meant take it out. There it is. End of the line. Yeah. End of the line. That boat was destroyed. And that's what the American military is going to do. Look, if you're going to run drugs to America, we're not going to have it. We're not going to have it. We're going to take you out. And if you're a gang banger and you want to come to America, we're not going to have it. At the same time, you have a federal judge in America saying Tren de Aragua fully legal to stay here. You can't deport them. Oh, yes, we can. And I'll tell you this. If we can't deport them, we can deport the politicians that put these judges in power that think they can overrule the immigration policy of the President of the United States. The judges didn't block Joe Biden from opening the borders all the way up. We certainly can do something about it, and we intend to. I can tell you that. No question about it. This part of the program brought to you by my good friends at Cardone University. Look, if you're a business owner, I want you to hear me. I'm offering you something remarkable today, a chance to put your business on track to become beyond your wildest beliefs. If you've got a bottleneck, you got problems, things you can't quite figure out, I've teamed up with Grant Cardone to give you a free review of your business. Get expert insights, proven systems that can use right away. All you have to do is go to Gruber10x.com. For those of you on the screen, you can see it. Grant Cardone, a guy who was broke at 30 and is going to be a billionaire by the time he's, what is he, 65? Something like that. Anyhow, Grant Cardone giving you free advice. I've gone through the program. Our businesses have done it. What a great improvement. I am an advocate for all of this. Gruber10x.com. Gruber10x.com. Check it out. In the next hour, we've got John Hart from Open the Books, Jay Young. And by the way, we've got the Epstein files released as well coming up in the next hour. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
And here we are to another brand new hour of the Steve Gruber Show, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day here in this no panic zone. Who do you want in your foxhole? If the chips were down, I ask you, who would you want there? Who comes to mind? All right, we got a lot to do today, so here are three big things to know this hour. Number one, a federal appeals court scored a $16 billion victory for America and the Trump administration, rejecting Green New Deal spending that was not in the country's best interest. Now it's been stopped. Number two, so what is up with online video showing items being tossed out of two upper windows of the White House? When asked, the president said he was sure those windows didn't open. Said it was AI, but don't think it was. And number three, America, we have to do better. We can't just turn our backs on these Democrat cities. We can't turn our backs on those that are in the firing line of bad Democrat policies that are getting killed. People that are getting killed literally every day in our once great cities. We can't turn our backs on these folks. We can't. And I'm not going to. I had a viewer, as I mentioned in the last hour, send me a note and tell me to stop talking about Chicago. No. It will never change. I'm not going to give up, because America cannot be great again until our great cities are cleaned up and the crime is under control. He says it will never change and he doesn't care about it. Well, pal, I do. You see, I used to go to Chicago every year to see the Cubs play baseball, for example, or go to concerts. Saw Pink Floyd there at the Rosemont Horizon. Great concert, by the way. The Wall Tour. Went for cocktails on Rush Street with Brother Shane and others. Not anymore. I don't feel safe going there. Even the Miracle Mile is a disastrous mile, much of it empty. And here's the thing, I'm not going to give up on any of it. I'm not. I'm not going to give up on America's great cities, and neither should you. So if you don't like it, that's too bad. I'm going to talk about crime in America. I'm going to talk about the fact that, look at this. Here, I've got the numbers. 3 murders in D.C. since August the 11th. 3. If you extrapolate that out, it could turn out to be 5 murders total in the 30-day period. It would be unheard of. Unheard of. D.C. with less than 10 murders a month. We're at 102 for the year. 102. Down from 109 at this time last year. And we'd be at about the same spot if not for the intervention of President Trump. Pretty obvious from all the statistics. But Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago, he wants no help from the president. Oh, no. He said the shooting will continue in Chicago, and that's the way it's going to be. No, he really did say that. Listen.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people. Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people. Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
Yes, the shootings will continue. Remarkable. All J.B. Pritzker has to do, the governor of Illinois, say, look, you're right. There are almost 1,500 police officers short in Chicago. You can go look this up. The city of Washington, D.C. is down 500. The city of Chicago is down about 1,400 and rising. The city of New York is down 3,000 police officers. How do you expect to run a safe metropolitan area if you're down 15, 20, 25% of what you should have on the streets? You can't. And so in D.C., for example, the people that have come in have filled that gap and then some. About 800 National Guardsmen came in originally. They were down 500 to 600 officers in D.C. at the Metropolitan Police Department. Now, enforcing the laws concerning illegal aliens. Let me give you some insight into the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, the big, the guy that looks like a human bowling ball. He's as wide as he is tall, although he's been on GLP-1 pretty obviously. He's lost some weight, not of his own volition, but he got the jab. All right, good for him. But enforcing the laws concerning illegal aliens is just racist, says the literal elephant in the room, J.B. Pritzker. Here he is.
Aim of this government. They don't actually care if you're here and undocumented. They just care if your skin color is a little off of theirs and that you're Latino. They're going to just target you without knowing anything. By the way, does anybody in this room walk around with citizenship papers? I mean, really, none of us have citizenship papers on us.
All right, so let me just tell you something about the murders in Chicago. Again, numbers that matter. It's about racism. Is it, Governor? Because you ignoring violence in Chicago is racist. How do I know? Well, of the 2025 race of the victims that have been murdered in Chicago this year, 76.7% are black, 18.2% are Hispanic, and just 5%, 1 in 20 victims in the city of Chicago is white or other. What do you need to know, Governor? 95% of the people murdered in Chicago are black and Hispanic. Majority are black. 76.7% as of September 1st. I don't think it's dramatically changed since that time. Meanwhile, Pritzker just can't admit Chicago is a bloodbath. He cannot admit how dangerous it is to be in Chicago after dark on the L, which is the elevated subway train, if you will, the L in Chicago. Listen.
People, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, so somebody's got to live with it. Enough of that.
Pay attention
fat
to what
ass. Enough.
President Trump is doing.
I'm done with him. Look, let me tell you something. Let's switch the gears a little bit. Here's a black woman, a mother of 4, running for Congress from Chicago, who says, oh, these politicians all sit in the fancy suburbs on high and tell us how crime is not a big deal in the city of Chicago. Listen.
It's the yuppie white women in Chicago who want to scream about Trump being fascist, yet they keep themselves carefully, safely tucked away in Lincoln Park. Come to Woodlawn. And not the cute part. No, go past 63rd. Come to Auburn Gresham. Chatham. Inglewood. Get on your scooter there. And do it about 7 o'clock. Okay. If you're not going to do that, mind your business.
If you're not going to do that, mind your business. If you're not going to go to the places where the crime actually exists, you're going to hide in Lincoln Park and the other, you're going to be on the North Shore, you're not in the conversation. Chicago, you need help. Admit it. Governor, do the right thing. Call the president. I'll be right back. So, every now and then, doing this deal, you have a guest that doesn't show up. Now would be one of those moments when the guest doesn't show up. And it's like, it's not a big deal. I mean, I always have extra material, piles of stuff here that I have piles of stuff I don't get to every single day. Different things here. And Ivy, not able to come on today. And Anthony says, well, have Ivy jump on. Ivy's not ready to go on the camera right now, she says. Anyhow, so made me laugh out loud. Hey, Ivy, get in there.
I'm just looking out for the Ivy Watch people.
I understand. Yeah, no Ivy today. Sorry, folks. Buzzkill early. Anyhow. So, anyhow, I always have tons of material here. Fannie Willis, for example, here's one of the stories I might not have gotten to, which was Fannie Willis ordered by a Georgia court to search for Trump-related records. Judicial Watch, they're looking for collusion and collaboration between Willis and Congress and the Department of Justice during the Biden administration, during some of that dirty behavior down in Fulton County. The Fulton County Superior Court judge order stems from a months-long pursuit by the conservative watchdog Judicial Watch to obtain communications between her office and the so-called January 6th Select Committee, which a lot of folks there are in hot water, as you know, like Adam Schiff and these other dirtbags. So there you got that going on. Meanwhile, let's see, what are the communists doing today? Well, the communists, like Zoran, said he's going to decide what you have to pay for rent at 250,000 apartments in New York City. Oh, yeah, he's going to control the rent and put landlords out of business. See, this never works. This never works. Oh, I had this other story over here. Atlanta. We'll keep an eye on this one. Run that soundbite of him, and I'm going to tell you about Atlanta. Hold on. Go.
And that is why, as your next mayor of this city, I will freeze the rent for more than 250,000 rent-stabilized apartments.
I will freeze the rent. I will screw the landlords, and I'll demand that landlords fix up apartment buildings, even though I just told them they're not allowed to collect any more money. Atlanta, officially opening its first government-run grocery store aimed at addressing food insecurity in underserved neighborhoods. It'll go the same, I will tell you right now, this grocery store will go the same way as the one did in, was it Kansas City? Yeah, Kansas City. It'll be gone in a couple of years, and they'll blame somebody, and they'll say, we need more socialism because it's so successful. Socialism is an abject failure no matter where it's tried or who tries it. Meanwhile, here's something for you. Let me see here. Here's something for you. Let's talk about crime again. Let's go to Bite 5, Anthony. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Bite 5. Tony Evers is the governor of Wisconsin, another mentally blunted socialist. He says his state cannot survive. Wisconsin cannot survive without illegal aliens. We demand illegal aliens in Wisconsin. Yeah, listen.
I believe that in Wisconsin, our ability to keep our undocumented people working like they are now at a really high numbers in the state of Wisconsin, if he takes this to a improper end, our economy will be gone.
Our economy will be gone. Wisconsin will no longer exist, except for illegal aliens. I'll check that off the list. Okay, there you go. There you go. And there you go. All right, back to bite number 2. You may have heard me talk about this, but here it is. President Trump's ratings are rising again, right? Young people shifting to Republicans, giving them a 12-point advantage. People 18 to 30 now favor the president by 12 points. It's unheard of. But it's all irrelevant to vocal Trump hater and one-time relevant sports commentator Bob Costas, who has lost his ever-loving mind and wants to attack you and me and anybody else who doesn't agree with socialist, communist, democratic policies and instead support what the president is doing, cleaning up crime, closing the border, helping the economy, putting in tariffs. Yeah, Bob Costas used to matter. He won't matter after you hear this.
He is by far the most disgraceful figure in modern presidential history. He's only become more disgraceful since 2016 and since 2020. He is a bubbling cauldron of loathsome traits, and it's only those who are actually suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, which is the way they and Fox News and all the rest of MAGA media try to brush aside all the legitimate criticisms of Trump. You have to be in the throes of some sort of toxic delusion, in a toxic cult, to believe that Donald Trump has ever been, in any sense, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually, or ethically fit to be president of the United States. But his supporters are locked in on that. There is no cult.
Okay. All right, so I must be in the throes of, what did he say? I'm in the throes of toxic delusion. I'm in a toxic cult because I believe that secure borders matter. I believe that people that are in the country illegally should be told to leave. I believe that criminals should pay cash bail. That makes me in the throes of toxic delusion. Oh, and by the way, I think communism sucks. All right, so I'm in the throes of toxic delusion. Thank you, Bob Costas, for diagnosing my issues. I greatly appreciate you for that. I can't even say it on the air. Anyhow. Self-righteous, self-serving and self-righteous. Nice job, Bob Costa. Support for today's show comes to us from PuroClean's Veterans Initiative. It's the PuroVet program, investing in our nation's heroes by helping them own and operate thriving local businesses. You can find out more at 855-PuroVet or go to purovet.com. Purovet.com. Where's that board? Where's that board? Board, right here. PuroVet. There it is. Purovet.com. Look at that beautiful graphic. 855-PuroVet. These are folks doing great work. I bet that puts me in the throes of toxic delusion, trying to help veterans in America. Bob Costas, what an idiot. All right, I'll be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, so, here's the, I'm not done with Bob Costas yet, an irrelevant has-been. He attacks Fox News. He attacks Trump supporters. He attacks the president himself and accuses anybody who doesn't agree with him as being part of a toxic cult. That sounds cultish to me. I wonder if Bob Costas also further supports the idea of men and women's sports. Men and women's sports, even little kids, understand there should not be men and women's sports. In fact, I've got a bite here. I've got to go to bite 17. Bite 17. Young girls in California saying, keep the boys out of my locker room. Listen.
So do you go to this school, James Day Middle School?
Yes.
And how do you feel about boys going into your locker rooms?
I feel disrespected thinking that, personally, like, we're biological females and any guy can just say he's a female and get into the locker room, and you never never know what can happen. Molestation, how do you say it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Or rape is very common, and you don't know who you're in there with when you're taking off your pants. It's just very, you have to be concerned in that locker room because you're naked. That's what everyone knows. And nobody's doing anything about it, so I guess we had to fight for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, there she is. She's part of that toxic, delusional cult. Bob Casa, stick it in your... Yeah. Are you tired of being pain every day? Try ExodusNow.com. Introducing Exodus, a natural holistic supplement. It combines 2,000 years of ancient wisdom, modern science as well, featuring 7 biblical ingredients like frankincense, myrrh, and cumin, paired with the groundbreaking benefits of molecular hydrogen. Designed to soothe joint and muscle discomfort, boost your energy, and reduce inflammation. That's the key. If you're living with chronic inflammation, you're not alone, but you do not have to suffer anymore. In fact, you can cure it today. I take it every day. Try ExodusNow.com. Try ExodusNow.com. Inflammation, be gone. That's right. All right. Glad to have you. And please support the folks that support these programs here. Please. Try ExodusNow.com. Support the folks that support this program. I'll be right back. All right, back at it now. It's we're halfway through the week already. It's what happens when you have a short week, right? Good stuff. Joining me now, Jay Young, fourth-generation oil and gas professional, founder and CEO of King Operating Corporation, an oil and gas company based in beautiful Dallas, Texas. And the Big D, he is. Welcome to the program, Jay.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me on again.
Oh, always good to have you here. So,
yes, sir.
I didn't realize this, but apparently a drop in U.S. oil and gas jobs, even as energy in America continues to increase. What's going on here?
Well, we're just seeing an afterflow of all the drilling that's been going on in the United States. I mean, shale wells come on at such high rates, and companies are drilling longer laterals, so therefore, these wells are coming in pretty good. And when they do, everything's going great. And then all of a sudden, when they quit drilling, because rig count's down, 40-50% in the last 2 years. So therefore, we're taking rigs off the market. So therefore, less wells are being drilled, which means that we'll see an aftermath of this in the next 3 to 6 months, where production will come down in Texas.
Production will come down by how much?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot, but I do know that when shale wells, the SHALE, when those shale wells come down, they lose 40-50% the first year, in production. They may come in at 2,000-3,000 barrels a day. They're at 1,000 barrels a day within a year, and they come down considerably. And so when you quit drilling, obviously, we're going to see that come off the market. So, we could be down, and it's a cycle, just like everything else. And we've seen, I'm a fourth generation guy, so I've seen a lot of cycles in the industry. And when you have less wells being drilled, production will come down. And then when production comes down, supply and demand, economics 101 kicks in. And then you have wells that, make less oil. We have less on the market. So therefore prices will come up, and we'll see prices probably start to move over in the first quarter of 2026, second quarter. We'll see, prices start moving back again.
Right now, I'm seeing oil right around $64, $65. There was a peak there a few weeks back. It went up, crowded the high 70s. Looked like it was going to go on a bit of a, but then it came back. Now we're right back to where we were 6 months ago, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And geopolitical risk. China's buying a lot of oil right now to put in storage. Russia, unfortunately, selling a lot of discounted oil around the world if they can, which Trump's not too happy about. And we're just safeguarding and trying to figure out exactly what's going on there. If Russia quits selling discounted oil, you'll see prices go up 20-30% literally overnight. If we can get Russia to quit selling that discounted oil, or try to get India to quit buying it, I guess.
So let me follow this through then. What you're telling me then is, if, for example, the war in Ukraine ends and sanctions on Russia, economic sanctions from the EU and the United States and others end, and Russia goes back into the normal selling process, the price of oil and gas around the world is going to spike 30%.
Yeah, right. Because you'll see some people that aren't buying some discounted oil start buying some oil from other countries. And I mean, it's 100 million barrels a day is a lot to forecast. I mean, that's 100 million barrels a day. That's what, $7 billion every day that trades hands. So I don't think people realize what happens when a barrel every day in the oil and gas markets, and how much money is shifted. But yeah,
what would that mean? Let me ask you that. Let me ask you the practical application of that, Jay. If oil goes from $65 a barrel oil to $80 a barrel oil, which is basically what you're saying, there'd be a jump, maybe a little higher, but we'll say 80. What would that mean for gasoline? What would that mean for natural gas, heating people's homes? What would the impact be on the American economy?
Yeah, same thing. And I'm more or less on, I don't know about the war in Ukraine as much as I'm concerned about when Russia quit selling oil to India, more than we have if we have a truce around the world, you may see prices stay right here, or creep up a little bit, and the supply and demand will kick in. But if you have Russia quit selling oil, and we can continue to sell oil like we have to India, and OPEC can start selling that oil, then you'll see a $75, $80 a barrel, crude. But if everybody's happy and you know, if and I don't know if Putin can ever be happy unless they just take over the whole country of Ukraine, probably. Then, you know, that's going to be different. But you know, what Trump's trying to do is he's trying to obviously make peace with Ukraine, but right now he's trying to get, you know, India to quit buying this illegal discounted oil
Well,
from
I
Russia.
don't see that happening, considering Modi, Xi, and Putin all got together with and have had this deal. India seems to be cozying up to China and to Russia. They want the cheap oil because it might push gas prices higher in America and affect our economy. But if India is unable to continue to buy cheap oil from Russia, it'll really hurt the Indian economy, won't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like I said, China's buying a lot of oil right now just to safeguard and put up, and because they don't know about what's going to happen in the future, and they're storing, you know, 100 million barrels of oil just to be safe and do what they can, you know, to keep their economy down and keep their prices. I mean, a barrel of oil to them obviously is a barrel of oil no matter where they get it, which is not that doesn't play into Trump's cards. Trump likes to play the cards and you know, do different things.
Well, I guess we'll keep an eye on it, Jay. That's a little disconcerting. I suppose if you wanted to invest in oil, though, it's maybe not a bad time to do it. It's discounted right now, and if oil goes to $65 to $80 or $85 a barrel, then if you're invested in oil stocks, you might do pretty darn well. Jay Young, always appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
There you have it. So there you've seen the future now. If Russia stops selling discounted oil to India or China or Iran or anywhere else, the price is going to spike. And if the spike in price happens, it means that there's going to be a spike at your gas pump, 30%. So if gas is $3 a gallon, it'll go to, what, $3.90 a gallon? A 30% jump, 90 cents on $3. That'll be pretty impactful to people here because shipping will go up. Therefore, the price of your groceries will go up. Keep that in mind. Here's my prediction. It's going to happen. Russia will get off the discount oil market. And when that happens, prices here in America are going to spike as well. This part of the program brought to you by Wolverine Water Systems. They are Michigan's premier water treatment company. My good friend Paul Mahaney has been over there running that place. The company's been around for about 75 years. It's the best water you can get, the best systems, made in Michigan. So it's made in America. The best products made in America, sold by Americans, installed by Americans. It's an American company. God bless America. WolverineWaterSystems.com. If you live in Michigan, it's the system you want in your house. Reverse osmosis for drinking water. The best blue line system to clean up your water if you've got those rust stains in your shower or your toilet and you're just sick of it. Or it smells not well. The water, that is. WolverineWaterSystems.com. That's the people to call. I've had Wolverine Water Systems in all of my houses long before I did this program. I've been a believer long before any of this. WolverineWaterSystems.com. I'll be right back. Oh, it's been a tough year for ticks, that's for sure. Well, a bumper crop, right? Ticks out there. The concern about that is that Lyme disease is something you do not want to contract. So having ticks around, and look, for whatever reason, the ticks are attracted to Ivy a lot more than they are to me. She's had problems with them all summer. They just seem to come to her. And fortunately, it's not been an issue. Joining me now for her, but it has been for other people. Kurt Avery is the founder of Sawyer, a leader in outdoor protection since 1984. They have tick repellent. They have water purification systems. In fact, they give 90% of their proceeds to people around the world so they can have clean water. What a noble pursuit. Kurt Avery, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Let's talk about ticks in 2025. I mean, good Lord, there's ticks on top of ticks making little ticks everywhere, it seems. What's going on?
I saw a stat that they're expecting 500,000 cases of Lyme disease this year.
Really?
So they're out. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the average is, but it sounds like a lot. And Lyme disease, if left untreated, can be very, very hard. If it's treated early, you can control it. You can never cure it, but you can control it, correct?
If you catch it early enough, you can get rid of it. But if you don't, it's going to be with you for a long time. It's like getting rheumatism, arthritis in the bones. Yeah, it's not fun. And there's 5 other things you can get from ticks too. So,
which is what? Give me the dirty list.
Well, you can end up with meat allergies where you can't eat red meat. You can end up with poison, and there's Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and there's actually new ones coming all the time because of all our international trade. They're coming across in the boats and pallets and stuff. So, but we haven't. They're everywhere now. They're here.
Yeah, the ticks are everywhere until winter comes, for the northern states anyway. But meat allergy, I read about that. It can make you deathly ill to meat. But it's not common, but it does happen. I think that'd be an affliction worse than anything I could possibly imagine. That'd be the worst thing possible.
Well, the irony was at the recent cattlemen's conference, they had to serve chicken because too many of the cattlemen had the meat allergy. So it can be serious.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Sawyer. Tick prevention. You have on your website, you have tick repellent is one of the things you sell. Where is your, I mean, this is, you're trying to protect people, but you're also a company that gives 90% of your money to help people have fresh water around the world. I think that's a great story, but tell the folks about the company Sawyer and what you're doing out there.
Well, we half the world dies of mosquito bites and bad water, and so we said, let's just dig in and let's see what we can do about it. So on the filter side, we have a filter smaller than the size of a Coke can, and it just never wears out. So we're down to where for about 20 cents, we give somebody clean water for the rest, for the next 10, 15 years. And we've been doing it. We do about 3 to 5 million people a year get clean water for the very first time, and it's totally life-changing. So we're having a lot of fun. That's kind of an honor. We're in 80 countries. We use 140 different charities. You can go to our website and see stories that'll choke you up. Or, our book here, the Sawyer Think, is on Amazon, and you can get that for $9.95 and read all about it and get some business tips at the same time. So it's huge. We also do a lot in the repellent business. The military we're the ones that we use. We treat the clothing. We're in every sporting goods store you'll find out there. So you treat your clothing, and the tick is going to die that day, won't embed once it crawls up.
You know what, Kurt? Let me tell you something else. Sawyer can be found in sporting goods stores. You do all this stuff. Look at that in my hand. It can also be found in my house. It can be found right here in the Gruber household. Ivy just walked out and said, hey, we've got those sitting right here, ready to go. See, so, and tell the folks, no, you're not a client. You're just somebody that showed up on the program, but I've got your product right here in my house. How fortunate is that?
Yeah, well, that's good. That'll never wear out. So you got that any kind of hurricane or boil alert. There you go. You got all your water you need.
Thankfully, no hurricanes in Michigan, but the boil alerts happen from time to time. We do get bad storms from time to time. 3 to 5 million people a year. I mean, you're really impacting people out there. 3 to 5 million people a year, Kurt.
Well, we're just starting. Yeah, we're just starting. We're on a project now where we're going to do Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, and hopefully within a year and a half, nobody in that country is going to get sick from bad water. So that's our mission. And we've done 5 countries already. Now we're moving on to the next level and do even more countries.
So you eliminate things like dysentery, is what you're saying?
All gone. Yep. Any
All gone.
biological sickness is all gone.
Yeah,
Instantly, cholera will get rid of in a day. It's over. Just boom, gone.
So you just and obviously you have bigger units, but this is something
No.
somebody can take with them, or is this what you have?
Yeah, no, that's it.
People take it with them wherever they go.
You
And
can screw it on a Pepsi bottle and
boom,
just do it. Yeah.
Screw it right on, and there it is.
Drink.
Away you go.
Exactly. We can put them on your faucets and stuff like that. No, that's it. That's as big as it gets.
That's as big as it has to get. And what do you say the cost is this when you get it out to the charities?
Oh, $10 to $15 a piece.
Right. So, how do people find out more about Sawyer? You've got bug repellent. That's great for ticks. I'm really fascinated about clean water because clean water can save millions of people, change their lives, like you said. How can people find out more, Kurt?
The easiest way is just go to Sawyer.com. We have a whole international section. We'll show you the stories, what we're doing. We have a foundation. If you want to donate, every penny goes to water projects. We don't have any overhead that's used in that money. So just go to Sawyer.com. You'll see stories all over the world. We're everywhere. Anytime there's a hurricane, we're the first one in because everybody has to have water. So
yeah,
you remember in Puerto Rico, you ever see all those pallets of water that were on?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You don't need that if you got this.
We got there first. That's why they didn't need the bottled water.
Kurt, I got to run, but I'm going to have you back because I want to talk more about this. I think it's fascinating. I think you're doing a great job. God bless Sawyer. Sawyer.com, my friends. Go find out more about these people doing the right thing for the whole world. Kurt Avery, thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. He's the founder there. I want to go with him to Guatemala. I want to see some of these stories in person. That's what I want to see. I'll be right back. All right, let's check it on Brock Palmbush now with sports.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. There was a full schedule of games in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included Toronto, the Chicago White Sox, and the LA Angels. National League winners included the New York Mets, Chicago Cubs, and Arizona. At the U.S. Open in New York, quarterfinal action began. Carlos Alcaraz won easily in straight sets to move on, and Novak Djokovic beat American Taylor Fritz in 4 sets to set up a mammoth semifinal between Alcaraz and Djokovic coming up on Friday. On the women's side, Jessica Pegula won easily, and Arina Sabalenka won in a walkover to advance to Thursday's semifinals. In the WNBA yesterday, there were 2 games. Golden State beat New York 68-58, and Phoenix won over Indiana 85-79. And in the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers gave right tackle Luke Gedeke a 4-year contract extension worth $90 million. $50 million of it is guaranteed. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Brock. Thank you very much. Ohio State, top of football rankings, right? Number 1.
Yes, after winning at home over Texas last Saturday. I don't disagree with that at this point.
Hurts me badly to see it, but
I understand. But hey, it's early. It's only September.
Wasn't Ohio State number 1 last year when Michigan beat them or something like that?
They were, and they deserve credit for recovering from that to win the national title.
Come on. Maybe.
Other Ohio State teams would have just folded up and quit after losing to Michigan. I've seen it before.
You know, there's not a member of the Buckeye team that's ever beaten Michigan. Think about it. Not one. Anyhow. Let's see. What's my magic number for the Tigers?
I believe it's 15 now. Even though the Tigers lost, Kansas City lost. Who was in second place? So it's 15.
Right. It's winding down. And how many games are they up?
20. They're up by 9 games with 22 games to go.
Yeah, we're fine. All right, thank you. Still to come in the next hour, Ron Rademacher will be here. We'll have a little fun with him. Gordon G. Chang will be here to talk about what's going on with China and India and those 600,000 Chinese students that Donald Trump said he can let in. I think it's a terrible idea. I usually agree with the president. I do not agree with him at all. In fact, I vehemently disagree with this idea because of the things that we have seen. We'll talk about it in the next hour here on the Steve Gruber Show. something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It certainly is. As we kick off another brand new hour here in the program, glad to have you along for the conversation. Look, a lot to cover here today. Who do you want in your foxhole is what we ask you every day, because we have to know who's going to be in there with you, right? That's right. As part of the program, a lot of things to talk about. Here are three big things for this hour. How about this one? Number one, Flint. 9 of 10 students in Flint not proficient in testing. Well, the money just continues to dump in. Flint gets more money than anybody else. $41,000 per kid in 23 and 24. Unbelievable. Number two, that Catholic school transgender killer. We've got a timeline of his collapse into chaos. Yes, his collapse into chaos. And number three, Jeffrey Epstein. The DOJ releasing almost 34,000 files. There's been all this calamity and demands for, we must, Donald Trump's name's in the Epstein files. And so what? So are a lot of people that didn't do anything wrong. The left would like you to have you believe that somehow Donald Trump is in there doing nefarious things. Absolutely false. There's no evidence of that at all. And if there were, I would say so here. If there was any evidence of anything tawdry, inappropriate, illegal, I would say it here. There's not. It's a distraction. But part of what came out yesterday from the House Oversight Committee and James Comer, the disputed minute that was allegedly missing. A congressional video fills a 1-minute gap in earlier surveillance from notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein's jail unit the night of his 2019 suicide. The disputed minute lasted from 11:58:59 on the 9th of August, 2019, until midnight on August 10th, 2019. Digital forensic experts previously found the clip released by the Department of Justice was chopped from 2 sources and edited together using Adobe Premiere Pro, which we use here, by the way, fueling conspiracy theories that the administration was covering up Epstein's death. They're not. The new drop from the House committee shows the camera data switched at about midnight, leading to necessary binding of the 2 clips for a consecutive video. It seems that the Bureau of Prisons says they reset the video every night at midnight. That's what happened here, so they had to bring the 2 pieces of video together. What doesn't make sense is that it contradicts Attorney General Pam Bondi's previous explanation that she thought the last-minute footage was deleted every night. It's not. She was wrong. She misspoke. So it's unclear why the footage disappeared, though the minute that was missing from the original drop did not reveal any action at all. When it was found there, it reveals no new information, no action on anything. Nothing changed. The DOJ found Epstein committed suicide inside his New York City jail cell while awaiting further sex trafficking charges. The AG's office could not immediately be reached for comment, but there you go. Anyhow. So nothing new in the Epstein case. Is Donald Trump's name somewhere in a file? Yeah, and so what? All right, so the trans killer, the latest transgender killer, Robert Westman. I guess his legal name was Robin. He did legally change his name to Robin Westman, but I don't care. Robert Westman killed 2 kids, injured 18 others before killing himself during a Catholic Mass at Annunciation Catholic Church, August 27th. As a child, Westman attended both the school and the church. Former student. The years and months leading up to the unthinkable mass shooting appear fraught with chaos in the shooter's personal life. Records show that Mary Grace Westman and her ex-husband James divorced in 2012, and Robert was 11 at the time, had 2 older siblings. And it showed that, and I'm going to tell you this again. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. The one common denominator in almost all of these school shootings. No father in the home, or if there is a father in the home, it's a very weak figure. Almost always, these killers, often white men, young men, are being raised by single moms with no father figure in the home. You go look. Go look at people like Adam Lanza. Right? Go look at these people. Here's just one name that jumps to mind. So they were divorced. Mom was in charge. 2016 criminal offense at home. Local police responded to a criminal offense at the Westman home 2016. Details not clear. Case was closed. Mental health incident at home in 2018. Is mental health. Assisted Mendota Heights with a check on welfare of a juvenile. So here are his mental health problems date to 2018. This is 7 years after his father disappeared. The following year, Robert Westman became Robin Westman, 2019. In 2021, Mary Grace Westman retired from her job. In the summer of 25 this year, Westman moved in with a friend. Recently broken up with a romantic partner. In that same warrant, the elder Westman told police that the shooter moved in with a friend at the St. Louis Park address the police searched after the shooting. July and August, Westman scouts the location. Visited the church in the weeks heading up to the shooting in order to scout the location. Had interaction with people there and told them he was trying to reconnect with his faith when he really wanted to murder children. Oh, he was also working in a dispensary. So he's probably using a few extra drugs as well. That was in August of 25. He left his job at the dispensary. The dispensary called Rise. It was about 10 days before the killings. He was a personal care specialist, worked with patients who were part of the state medical marijuana program. The day before the shooting, the Collier County Sheriff's Office responded to a juvenile welfare check at Mary Grace's Naples, Florida condo. Looking for a child and a child's mother who they say previously lived with Westman at the home. And then the morning of August 27th, the shooting. No father in the home. That's the timeline part you need to take away from. The father left when the kid was 11. Gone. No father figure or a very weak father figure. That is the common denominator. You can have whatever you want to think. Doesn't matter. There it is. We need more dads in America. We need more strong fathers in America. We need more toxic masculinity in America. It's what we need. Some children need a firm hand, to say the least. And without that firm hand, they go feral. And when they go feral, like a lot of feral animals, they become dangerous. I'll take a break. When I come back. Another feral animal, but in a good way. Ron Rademacher will be here. Don't go anywhere. Well, I'm telling you, it's been just a terrific weekend. We talked about. I mean, the weather in northern Michigan was just the best ever. We spent a lot of time on the water, and the water was flat as a plate. Just loved it. Got out there, surfed, tubed. I don't tube anymore. I'm beyond that age of tubing safely, but had a great time. Joining me now, of course, a man who has been lost in the backwoods more than anybody, Ron Rademacher himself. I'm sure he was lost somewhere hopefully with a cold beer and a hot burger. Ron, how are you?
Steve, I am terrific, and you don't get to hear this very often, but you are right. That was the best weather that was the best weather for a Labor Day weekend I can remember in a long time. We were at Houghton Lake, of course, and the water was just flat.
Flat.
Everybody was just having a great time fishing. Terrific weekend.
Yeah, it was outstanding. The water was flat. We didn't fish, but you know, the nice thing about Labor Day is I think this for sure. If you say, well, you know, it's September, it's the best month because most of the tourists are gone. You've got water. 75% of the boats are gone. You've got the lake to yourself, whether it's Houghton Lake. I don't care. Pick your lake. You've got real opportunity now because most kids are back in school, people are back at work, whatever. It is a terrific month. The water's warm, the weather's good. Hey, why not? Anyhow.
Yeah, no, you're right again. And you know, you can get around.
Wise?
The restaurants are not packed. The trails are there. Everything is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, this September, October are two of our best months, and we get them mostly to ourselves. By the way, a shout out, if I may. Today, September 3rd, is Farm Market Freddy's birthday. So happy birthday to him, a man definitely in need of a firm hand. So I'm sure that Carmelo will make sure of that.
Right.
Happy birthday, Farm Market Freddy. And I did have a breaking news. I believe I sent it to you. Our favorite place in the Upper Peninsula, Nama, has new development going on. The campground burnt down a few years ago. Somebody's come in and bought it. They're going to rebuild the campground. They're going to put in a marina. It is going to be fantastic over the next couple of years. Yeah, the deal's done. The deal closed. We've been knowing it's been going on for a couple of months, but the deal has closed, and man, I can't wait to get back up there for the bass fishing tournament. Hopefully some of that stuff will be in place by then.
Nama's going to be a high rent district.
It's going to go way up. Those houses that have been selling for $35,000 may go all the way to 36.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Hang on to your hat, boys and girls.
The numbers are getting big. It's even rumored that there may be a small shop attached to this marina where you can actually buy beer and bullets, which right now you have to go all the way to Rapid River for that right now. Yeah. So, they're just going out of their minds up there.
It's crazy. It's crazy talk. I like it.
So we got a lot going on. Upper Peninsula. Hey, our friends in the Wilderness Treasure bait shop in Pickford let me know that the Big Hole Scramble is on. The women's golf scramble is on this weekend, and they also have a Big Hole men's. I'm not sure exactly what this means, but I love the name. So they got that going on. And I know that you are very much about staying in shape.
Well, yeah.
Even though you're not tubing anymore. But, you know, the Mountain Goat Mash is going on in Marquette, and that's another one of these bicycle races where they go over the toughest terrain that they have. And if you've been to Marquette, you know, north of town, there's some brutal terrain. So if you got the legs of a mountain goat, head up there.
That's what they look like. That's what they look like in shorts.
Munising. I misspoke. That's in Munising up by the pictured rocks. Marquette has their head screwed on straight this weekend. On September 6th, they're having the Upper Peninsula Fall Beer Festival.
Right.
So, you know, you can dodge all this craziness, this athletic stuff, and get up there and help them taste test the local beers.
Right. Gotcha. So
that's your Upper Peninsula.
Let's go south.
Let's go to the what could go wrong category, Steve. How about this?
All right.
Battle Creek is having corks and kegs at the zoo. This is a time to celebrate beer and wine tasting where there are wild animals in cages. I don't know what could go wrong.
Hey, watch this. Hold my beer.
Yeah. I mean, hey, watch me balance on this railing here. So there's that. The other what could go wrong
Oh, my Lord.
is in Traverse City, where they're having the International Fireworks Championships, September 5th and 6th. 6 teams, 2 nights of shows. Now, Steve, I think that you and I really should form a team for next year and be in this competition. I mean, what could go wrong with that?
How do you qualify? How do you qualify?
I think you have to be able to light a match.
We blew up Uncle Ernie last year. We qualified for the championship.
Yeah. Here's Uncle Steve. Watch this. Here, you hold it. I'll set it on fire.
Ron, where's the beer?
So, those are what could go wrong. Now, you want to talk about partying? This is a great weekend for a weekend after Labor Day. Mansalona, they know how to party there. They're having the Rock of Ages Stone Skipping Championship.
Really?
You can get out there at the lake and skip stones, and world record holder Kurt Steiner is registered, so you can get up there and compete against the pros.
All right, so it begs the question, Ron, what is the world's record?
Now, this I have not, it's different divisions. Are they wild stones? Are they round stones? There's different divisions. So
I don't know. Do they supply other competition stones? Do you have a regulation stone? You must, right?
Yeah, I think that you do. It'd be just like if you're shooting clays, you can't just bring your own clays and you can't bring your own loads. It's competition. It's all regulated. But they will make sure that if you want to step up, Steve, and get lubricated and step up, they'll let you throw a couple of rocks up there.
All right, let me see here.
Sure they will.
Stone skipping. I'm gonna have the answer here.
Okay.
To the
88 skips.
88. Wait, 88 skips by Kurt Mountain Man Steiner, September 6, 2013. All right, hold that thought, Ron. We ran up against the wall because we had to do it. Nice job, Anthony. Anthony beat me to the answer. Mr. AI. Anthony AI Cross. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, so just if you're wondering, yes, there is video evidence. 280,000 views on YouTube. Kurt Steiner's insane stone skipping world record, 88 skips, 2014, with video. It is like it's really quite something. He's just standing on the side of a lake, and he just launches it. Ron, I'm watching the video. It's stunning. Anyhow,
yeah.
All right, so we got a couple more here because I ran you right into the wall there. So let's get to it, Potato Queen.
Well, we got to do that because when fall hits Michigan, you can tell it really is when Posen has their potato festival, where they celebrate all kinds of things that have to do with potatoes, and they will once again crown a potato queen.
Yeah.
I will try to get a picture and send it to you so we can give her a big shout out, whoever wins this year. The competition.
If you get too drunk at the potato festival, they just say you're mashed. That's just what they say.
They just say you're mashed. And I think they do a little potato mashing. The Polish, I believe, are the ones who developed potato vodka. Could have been the Russians, but we're all for it either way. On a more serious note, Muskegon's having their World War II tour this weekend. And, this is interesting. If you've never been, They have a lot of what went on in there, but they also have 3 vessels. They have the LST, they have Silversides, and they have the Mark Dock. Excellent vessels that have been held over and been refurbished. So you can tour some of these World War II vessels over there.
Yeah, I spent the night on the Silversides.
Silversides is a submarine.
Yeah, I spent the night on it. About
you did?
4 or 5 years with Boy Scouts. Yes, a little Boy Scout adventure deal. We spent the night on the. Not comfortable, I'll tell you that. Anyhow, and Remus, the annual Wheatland Music Festival, it was uncomfortable. It was like sleeping on a piece of metal because I was sleeping on a piece of metal. The Wheatland Music Festival, September 5, 6, 7. He was trying to say it, Remus. MichiganBackroads.com, MichiganBackroads.com, MichiganBackroads.com. The point is, World War II veterans are tougher than people today. People who were on the Silverside sank like 6, 7 ships. Had a pretty good record, by the way.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, go see the SS Edson in Bay City. It's a destroyer. It will blow your mind, the conditions that these people went into combat under. It will blow your mind.
Did.
Unbelievable.
MichiganBackroads.com. Find out more with that man, Ron Rademacher. Ron, I'm out of here. Thank you.
Steve, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
I'm Shanola.
All right, just out moments ago, China and Russia, I guess this is from yesterday, blasting a brand new Power of Siberia 2 pipeline, according to Gazprom. Russia and China giving their blessing to the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline, yet to agree on pricing. but it could deliver an additional 50 billion cubic meters of gas per year to China through Mongolia from the Arctic gas fields of Yamal, hands the world's largest energy consumer greater options to hedge against future reliance on U.S. liquefied natural gas. This is happening. Also, you saw China, India, and Russia. India cozying up with China and Russia, all very concerning. And then something more concerning from Donald Trump. But let me get my next guest in here, Gordon G. Chang, the author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, the coming collapse of China, and China is going to war. Gordon, nice to see you here today. By the way, if you want to follow Gordon, you can follow him on X at Gordon G. Chang. All of these developments are concerning to me in a variety of ways, but more concerning, Gordon, the Trump administration reversing field and saying, yes, 600,000 Chinese students are welcome in the United States. I strongly disagree with this. I'm in Michigan, where I've seen a couple of things happen recently. First, 5 Chinese students from the University of Michigan caught photographing the Taiwanese American military drills at Camp Grayling, posing as journalists. And then second, trying to bring in were Chinese students pathogens like fungus that could destroy Americans' corn, wheat, and beans. Why on earth would we let 600,000 students in the door and say, welcome to America? Why would we do this, Gordon? Why?
We absolutely should not do it. And there are 2 primary reasons, Steve. One of them, of course, is the spying. We know that Chinese consular officials and Ministry of State Security agents coerce Chinese students to spy. Maybe 13% of them do. They take a substantial amount of data and information. This is a grievous loss to the United States.
Yeah,
but even more important.
Go ahead.
Yeah, even more important, though, is that every space taken by a Chinese student, and this is true for all foreign students, but every space taken by a Chinese student means 1 fewer space for an American. And the primary mission of American educational institutions should be to teach and educate Americans. Especially, we know the Chinese are primarily in the STEM topics, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And those are the topics where we need to teach Americans. So this is not good. And I think that President Trump will backtrack from that. We've heard a few comments suggesting that he's going to not go that far. But we've just got to monitor this because this is absolutely critical.
Look, I was in the cabinet meeting last week with the president when this was discussed with the cabinet and a number of journalists in the room, including myself. And he said the problem is if you don't let these 600,000 students in, that several smaller universities and colleges in America will go bankrupt. And I would simply say to that, if you're relying on Chinese students to pay the bills, that's not a business plan. That's a disaster for your university and for this country. And it's not a business plan. I'm sorry, Mr. President, you're wrong on this one. Your thoughts?
And you are right, because I can't think of a reason to do this. You know, if these educational institutions are going to go out of business, the free market should dictate that. But I'm not sure that they will, because Americans want to be educated. So I'm not sure that, when Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick talks about this, I just don't get it at all.
Well, the Ag Secretary, Brooke Rollins, and I had a conversation recently about the concern about agro-terrorism. You and I had that conversation with John Solomon on a special recently. My concern sitting here in Michigan is watching these University of Michigan students bring in a pathogen that could wipe out half of America's food crops. I mean, to me, that is an act of war. Of course, a lot of the things that China's doing is an act of war. And then this whole idea of India cozying up to China, Russia and India and China in alliance together against the United States, which, by the way, the president put out a truth today saying that they're conspiring against the United States. So I think there could be a change of temperature in Washington on all of this, based on what I saw from the president just this morning. What are your thoughts? Maybe you saw that truth come out.
Yes, and I think this is important because, we've seen a pattern from the Oval Office, and that is President Trump is very generous. He's given both Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin off-ramps to try to solve things peacefully. Now, unfortunately, neither of those leaders are wanting to do that. And so I think we are going to see a much harder tone out of President Trump. And, the Chinese right now in this big military parade that they've just conducted, Xi Jinping has been going after the United States left, right, and center. And at some point, President Trump needs to counter that narrative. Xi is saying that China is dominant and that the United States is finished. And he's telling everybody that. That's not true. But President Trump needs to do something to undermine that narrative, to show the Chinese who's boss. And until we do that, this is going to be very difficult for him, because a lot of countries are going to bandwagon with China because they believe Xi Jinping's narrative.
Yeah, so here's my question on that topic. The health of Xi Jinping has been in question for some time now. Do you have any information on that? Any update on that? There's questions that he may have suffered some sort of a stroke a year ago-ish, that some of the generals have basically realigned behind the scenes because Xi Jinping had basically eliminated all the competition along the way of the way it had been structured. Any insights?
Well, I think that Xi Jinping has lost control of the Chinese military. Now, that's not a majority view, but we have seen some objective factors that indicate that these transfers and demotions and disappearances of general officers are, and in all these guys this year who have been disappeared, they are all Xi Jinping loyalists. Now, most people think that Xi Jinping got rid of his own people, but there are indications that say, no, Xi Jinping's adversaries got rid of Xi Jinping's loyalists. Most important is that PLA Daily, which is the main propaganda organ of the Chinese military, since July 9th of last year, has been running articles that praise collective leadership, which is a direct slap against Xi Jinping's absolute demand for absolute obedience. So I think that what those indications say is that Xi Jinping has lost a lot of altitude in the military. I think he's lost some influence in civilian ranks as well, though we don't have as clear evidence of that. We're going to find out a lot, Steve, in next month, because then the Communist Party Central Committee holds its fourth plenum. And a lot of people, not a majority, but a lot of people do think that Xi Jinping is going to get clipped at that meeting. And we'll just have to see.
Well, all eyes will be on that. Obviously, that would strain all the things that's been happening. But in the meantime, we need to be paying attention to China. It is our #1 global adversary, period, have been most of my life. We just didn't realize it. China's in an asymmetrical war against America. America needs to wake up, or continue to wake up, as it were. Gordon Chang, always appreciate you being here. You can follow Gordon on X. I suggest you do if you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on with China and more, at Gordon G. Chang. Gordon, we'll talk again soon. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve, and stay safe.
Stay safe yourself. I appreciate it. All right. Look, he is one of the leading voices, one of the leading experts, if not the definitive voice on China in 2025. That's why we bring him here and have for years, so that you are the best educated, best prepared to take on the day every day. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Send me an email, stevegruber.com, the place to do that. Send me an email. Tell me what's on your mind, stevegruber.com. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it as we continue our conversation today. We're going to bring in Michigan State Representative Ann Boland now to the conversation. Ann, nice to have you back on the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. I saw you guys standing at the podium, you and the speaker and some others here over the last couple of days, saying that you found $5 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse. But the part that I circle is fraud in that sentence. You made some pretty considerable accusations there. Do share with the folks, would you please?
Yes. So one of the places that we have found fraud is in the SNAP program, the food stamp program, if you will. And, there's a problem with lack of technology and security in it. And actually, it's people are stealing people that have SNAP benefits, their benefits. All right. And so we have a solution to that. We hope we'll be passing that through the House this week. And that is to require a different type of bridge card, if you will, with a magnetic stripe on the back, and also requirements for photo ID on them. And that will help eliminate that and certainly minimize the opportunities for that.
So a new bridge card, an upgraded, improved version of the bridge card so that people have less ability to commit fraud is what you're saying.
Yes, yes.
All right, well, that's
And
not a bad
also,
idea.
We have error rates on the SNAP card through the DHHS approval process as well, right? And so because we have an error rate, we're providing benefits for people who are not eligible for them, or we haven't received the appropriate documentation, if you will, we will have a penalty assessed to us under the One Big Beautiful Bill. So we're trying to optimize the time frame here and put forth some solutions to lessen the burden on the state as we transition to more reliance on these benefits potentially and more responsibility dollar-wise from the state government.
Well, here's one of the things that I found really striking about the comments when I heard you and Speaker Hall and others at the podium talking. 4,300 jobs being paid for that don't actually exist, maybe more. But 4,300 jobs being funded that don't actually exist. Did I understand that properly?
Yes, you did. And, maybe you heard me say, I'm not sure if I said it in that press conference or another, but that we did not have to gut to cut. We really just had to go line by line in this budget and find the opportunities where we could reduce spending, reprioritize, and reset our priorities for the state of Michigan, for what the people are looking for. Those 4,200 employees, those are unfilled positions. But should the department come forth and want to fill those or able to fill those positions, the state is obligated to pay for them and have the money to pay for them. The other area I find to be of the greatest abuse is in the work projects. $5 billion of work projects. And what a work project is, the department will come forward in year one. They'll identify a project that they maybe want to respond to a problem we're having or a pilot program or something. And it gets appropriated for the year, and then they don't make a lot of progress in the first year, so they request it to be converted into a work project. And it sits on the books, tied up, that it's not available, that funding, for other state purposes. Early on, we had every subcommittee go through these work projects and have hearings on them, meet with the departments. Where are you at on this work project? Are you making progress? Do you still need this work project? Or, does it have to shift in some way? Could the money be utilized better elsewhere? And so it wasn't just willy-nilly that, we went ahead and are discounting these work projects, but we actually took a very thoughtful and deliberative approach to them. And we feel that that's also an area. And so what does that mean to the state budget? That means that we were able to put forth a $78.5 billion budget, which included gutting the waste.
Let me ask you something. Let me jump in there. $78.5 billion. What does that compare to the previous year?
Well, this year's budget, $82.5 billion, and I want to put it in perspective of what the House offered up for this next budget year and what the Senate presented and what the governor expended. The Senate and governor both presented budgets that are over $83.5 billion, okay, up from this year. Both of them recognized we need $3 billion for roads, but neither of those budgets showed how we were going to get the $3 billion for roads.
Well,
So
and I
if you look
appreciate
at
that,
their
but I've got to
budget-
ask you this. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this, Ann. because I got to hold your feet to the fire a little bit on this. How is it that the state of Pennsylvania's annual budget is $51.5 billion for a state that's bigger and has more people? That's $27 billion, even from your $78.5 billion reduced budget. $27 billion Michigan spends that Pennsylvania does not. How is that possible?
Well, I think you have to look at what we're comparing to. Is it the overall budget, including school aid budget? Do they fund higher ed? Or is it just the general fund budget?
I don't know. We're spending
right?
$41,000 on each student in Flint, and we can't get them to pass a third grade reading test. $41,000 per student in Flint.
And that's a problem. And our school aid budget is, we included in our overall number of our budget, of our $78.5 billion budget, it's over $21 billion of it. A lot of the funding in our state is restricted.
And look, I'm not giving you a hard time. You're doing a far better job than the people on the other side of the aisle. But I mean, these are important questions. How do we spend $27 billion more than Pennsylvania? How do we spend $41,000 on a kid in Flint, Michigan, and can't get them to read? It's a lesson in abject failure. And I'm not blaming you. You're doing a better job than the others, because their answer would be, oh, spend $50,000 per kid and fail. So anyhow, I got to leave it there. But I want to continue to work through this budget because it's important. It's a better plan that we had. I really like the SNAP corrections. We need to fix fraud in this state. We can't be spending $20 million on grants to our friends either, but that's an aside that we've already talked about. What does a $6,000 coffee machine look like? I am just dying to know. Anyhow, that's it for a different day, Ann. I always appreciate you being here. Keep working hard. I know you are. And let's see if we can continue to trim this budgeting and get the roads fixed at the same time. Ann Boland, thank you for being here.
All right, thank you very much.
Really appreciate it. I wish we had more time because there's so much to dig through. She's from Brighton Township, by the way. But you do have to ask yourself, my friends, how is it that, and I just looked it up, the annual budget this year for Pennsylvania is $51.5 billion. Even at 78.5 on a reduced budget from 84, 85, whatever she said, at 80, it's $27 billion more than the Republicans' reduced budget of 78.5. They're on the right path. We need to go farther, I think. Anyhow, they're doing the right job. I'll be right back. couple other notes of stories I didn't quite get to today, but I'll leave you with before we head out the exit for this particular day on a short week. FEMA workers have been fired for watching racially charged pornography and bestiality on government-issued devices while they're at work. Your tax dollars at work. Can you imagine? This is what they're doing with their time, watching bestiality and racially charged porn. 2 FEMA workers, they're supposed to keep the country safe from terrorism and nuclear meltdowns. Fired yesterday for watching this crazy, bizarre porn. Not unlike the CDC guy who resigned and then said, I'm an activist more than I'm anything else anyhow. Got that going on. Let's see here. Here's good news for you. On the cleanup, Washington, D.C. The cleanup in Washington, D.C. continues. The National Guard has picked up hundreds and thousands of bags of trash, disposed of truckloads of plant waste, and have cleaned more than 3.5 miles of roadways so far. So they're cleaning up the capital of the United States. And to her credit, the mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser, now seems to be on board with it. And why wouldn't she be? 3 homicides, 23 days. At this pace, you'll have 5 homicides. So that would bring D.C. annualized. That would bring D.C.'s homicide rate down to 60 for the year. 60 for the year. I mean, it is. That would be cutting the homicide rate by 2/3 at that rate. Who would argue with this? Nobody that's sane is the answer you're looking for. Fight the good fight and keep the faith, my friends. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is The Steve Gruber Show. Remember, only you can save America. And before we meet again, figure out who you want in your foxhole. We'll talk tomorrow.